Alright, welcome back to Mike Torres Golf with your host, Mike Torres. So a lot of you have been asking this question and I've got a lot of comments and I hear it. We are going to be testing out Paradym Standard versus the TSR2. Now I know you're going to be like, well, how about the TSR3? Well, we're going to do that in another video because I have the TSR3 right over there and we're going to be comparing that to not only the Paradym Standard, but we're going to put the eventually the TSR4 versus the Triple Diamond. For this test, we're going to go Paradym versus the beautiful TSR2, and this just brings back good memories of TSR2 because I remember testing this last year and just looking at the crown. It looks so good. When we come back, we're not going to even show the clubs. We're just going to go directly into testing because if you go to my other videos, you can see what these look like. I really want to get more testing out of these clubs than I do search-wise. So other than that, stay tuned. We're going to start off with the Paradym first. This again, Paradym versus TSR2. We're going to go right into a few shots, just warming up a little bit. I'm going to try to pull the best data out of this, so let's see what this does. That's bombs. Yeah, that's a bomb. .272, playing nice little fade today. You didn't get the turn, but I mean, I think it's a bomb.
Okay, then what I was saying is it's probably going to be either this one or something like this.
Jesus. And we're going to end on that because we already knew what the Paradym could freaking do. I mean, I miss hitting this like crazy. And look at where it hit. Look where this hit. 14 millimeters up off of the x-axis, 16 off. 16 off the x, 14 up the y. And I'm still putting out 280 on the carry. That's absurd. So when we come back, TSR2 time. Let's see who's better. All right, we're going to test TSR2 now against the Paradym. Pretty good start, 270 drive. Pretty good. That was hit. And of course, the only number we get is the total. All right, TSR2 versus Paradym. So we are done testing these guys against each other. We're going to go back to the house. We're going to go make sense of the data. I mean, the good thing about this session is that I'm mishitting both of these drivers like crazy, and there's a lot of good stuff for amateur golfers. When we come back, we're going to go through the data. I'm going to explain the goods, the bads, the uglies, what I think is personally better, as well as explaining the reasoning why I think you should put one of these in your bag if necessary. So, other than that, you can go make sense of the data, and the next time you see me, we'll be at the house. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the house. We just did a TSR2 versus Paradym showdown in the simulator, and we're going to go right into it. But before you do that, hit that subscribe button. Helps my community out. For me, this actually came from a community member asking me if I can do a test from the TSR2 and then the TSR3 versus the Paradym to get some numbers, data, see my overall thoughts. And that's what I did. For me, I do listen to my viewers and I will comment, and I do see my comments. I don't turn a blind eye. I'm very in tune with my community, so make sure you are commenting, but you can't do that if you're not subscribed. So make sure you are subscribed, and then we go right to the data. So let's do that. We swung the Paradym first, so let's do that. So I brought the club speed to under a 1 consistency. I swung this a lot faster than the TSR2 for some reason. I was not striking the Paradym as well as I normally did, which gave better data actually. because I didn't strike the TSR2 that well too. And, for me, it's about forgiveness between these two clubs. A lot of people have been saying that the TSR2 is not comparable to the Paradym. It's more the TSR3. So why not test both? In reality, it still gives you kind of data to see what you should be buying. Someone said the TSR2 is very comparative to the Paradym X. It's not true. You're playing a draw bias there. That's it. Has nothing to do with more forgivability. So I don't know. The data showing here that my spin rate I was actually pretty happy with. Usually I'm around 23.5. And I was around 24.43. Launch angle was a little higher than I expected. Smash factor was pretty good. I think my lowest one was 1.43, which is pretty good. Carry averaged 275.4. Take that any day of the week. And then the rollout was 295.4. Like I said, take that any day of the week. Even with the mishits, I was hitting this thing really hard. This is I think third or fourth time now I've done a sim training or a simulation with the Paradym, and that club is it rips. Overall, I felt good about the analysis here. And then we go to the TSR2. The first thing I noticed is that my swing speeds were lower with the TSR2, and my smash factors were a little lower too. But I did take into the account of when I did have 109, 158 ball speed. I was looking at the ball speeds. The one thing I forgot how much I like the spin rate on the TSR2. I almost put this into my bag last year. So for me, I'm going to critique this pretty hard because I only had one spin rate above 23.5, and that was at 2,500. The carries were a little lower than the Paradym, and that's what I was expecting, honestly. But I did expect them to be lower. I do remember this club being unbelievably forgiving in comparison. So I wasn't expecting this to be as distant as the Paradym. So I always think I'm trying to critique this as best as possible because there was a lot, and the reason why I'm saying there was a lot is there was a lot of mishits. I mishit the crap out of both these drivers all day today, and I was still getting good results, meaning both these clubs are very good. I want to go to the Dispersion. This is going to tell another story. So I remember why the TSR2 almost came into my bag last year. So if we go here, the orange is the TSR2. These are pretty much all mishits except this. This was an absolute bomb. I was playing all of these to a fade. I think I had maybe one draw with the TSR2. And then this one, I knew this was a big draw with the Paradym. I crushed. This was 280, right? Yeah, that's the one I piked. And I was fading all of these. All the TSR2 shots were basically all fades. But so were the Paradym shots. And I noticed that the Paradym shots, they weren't that bad. I was still kept it in an area where I wanted it to. But the TSR2 was slightly more forgiving than the Paradym. Now, am I saying it's that much more forgiving? No. Just objectively speaking, on the same day, I hit the same exact shot on every shot except this one here. And that does tell a story because in reality, other than that, I played fades to all of these, and these three really faded out, which is not, they weren't bad shots, they were just high fades. Carry distance, I was carrying the Paradym much better than I was the TSR. So in distance, you're going to get a little more off the Paradym than the TSR2. So when we come back, I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the TSR2 comparatively to the Paradym, tell you which audience makes sense to, and that's it. We will go from there. We'll be right back. Final thoughts, TSR2 versus the Paradym. So, knowing that the TSR2 is supposed to be the more forgiving club, and that the Paradym is really supposed to be matched, that's what people are saying. They're supposed to be matched up against the TSR3. I still wanted to do one against the TSR2 to give you the differences between the two clubs. Objectively saying, the Paradym was carrying further. It was carrying by 4 yards further. And off of mishits. And for me, I was able to play a high fade, and even I was hitting heel, so I was minus 15 MMs off of center line on some hits. And for them to still carry around, you know, for these shots to still carrying at 270s, like 275, 280, one was like 274. These are bombs. The TSR2. Now, I almost put this into my bag. I said that before, and there was a reason for it. Now, I think the TSR2 is meant for a person like me that will have significant mishits on a driver face, but still can hit the damn. I can swing fast, swing hard, and still have good mechanics, and still put it out there 275, 280, and still keep it in play. I think the TSR2 is for I would say it's for a low to mid handicapper, and I'm going to set like the guidelines here. The TSR2 is if you are like I would say it's up there, 8 to about like 16, 17. That's where your TSR2 is going to be. I'm a lower handicapper than that, but my weakest bag, you're not going to believe this, is my driver. My iron play is very strong. My iron play, I can put the ball anywhere on the green. The driver for me has always been the biggest issue. So for me, you know, the reason why I almost thought about putting this into my bag was because of how accurate the damn thing is. The Paradym, I mean, this thing explodes. That club is going to be, and I'm just going to be saying this specifically, I know they say that it's going to be for an audience of large, but if you want my honest opinion, you want to be a low handicapper playing that club. It is forgiving, don't get me wrong. Like you can, I would say you play this from, if you're playing from a, probably like a 4 to like a 10. I know I'm overlapping the 8 and 10, but I would say like that, you know, that Venn diagram, I would say like from a 4 to 11, that 8 to 11 can really figure out if they're playing a TSR2 or a TSR3 depending on their ball striking abilities. The Paradym is going to be played by a much lower handicapper, and they're going to be able to take a lot of distance with this. It is forgiving, but I feel like the safe play here, if you are about a 4 to 5 through that like 11 to 12, just because it is forgiving, but not as much as people are saying. It's forgiving, don't get me wrong. It's just there are more forgiving clubs than this. And then obviously they have the triple diamond model for anybody that is just a fantastic ball striker. You're between scratch and like 5, and I create that kind of Venn diagram, but I'll have another video. But like I said, both drivers, these can both go in the back. They're both fantastic. I had such good memories hitting the TSR2 today. And, you know, I kind of look at this, I'm like, why isn't this in the bag? And then I look at the Paradym, I'm like, crap, I was exploding this. I'm like, why isn't this in the bag? Because both of them can easily be in the bag. I feel like for the TSR2, if you need more forgiveness, it's going to give you much more forgiveness than the Paradym. That's just me being honest. Because the Paradym is, I think, for little more significant, better ball strikers. And then if you are a good ball striker, you get that Paradym. You get that Paradym. Not even going to BS you on that one, because that club is fucking rips when you hit it right. So that's about it. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Helps me in the community. For me, this video specifically came as an idea from a community member. And for me, I just was like, yeah, let's do it. So the next video that I'm going to have is going to be the TSR3 versus the Paradym, because then we're going to make sense of both of those clubs. But striking distance, forgivability, I think you're going to have a little more, I would say, better. I think you're going to have a little better of consistency between those two clubs. Just wink. But I would say, objectively speaking, I still think the TSR2, even though it's not going to keep up with the Paradym in distance, but I think it is definitely pretty damn good for keeping up. And it was only back 4 yards today. So that's about it. You know, I always end my my videos. I keep it real.